Isn't it funny?
Great.
Isn't it funny how we were just talking and then we go press the record button and then we have to say, "Hey, how's everyone doing?" It's like the funniest thing.
Hey guys, I've never talked to you guys before. This is the first
Yeah.
interaction I've had today with you all.
Yeah, let's start the conversation all over again.
Yeah, let's not go there.
So I think I better mute here. Okay, I think we are definitely live. I see it now. So very cool. Our very first episode, guys. I don't even know what to say. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here
Absolutely.
too. You are two of
so I
my
did a
favorite
poll.
people out here.
I did a poll on my Twitter, and this is where I think it would be really cool to start the conversation, right? Is I asked people, what would you really rather us talk about? Would you rather us talk about DeFi, passive income, real estate, all that stuff? And I had obviously I had an overwhelmingly support on DeFi passive income, but still a lot of people were voted for like life beyond money, money goals, real estate. And this really made me think of a question I wanted to ask you guys. And that was like, what do you guys value more? All right. Do you guys value cash flow, or do you value building your wealth up first? Like, what's your first goal before you do anything? Because you got those people that are like, max out your Roth IRAs, max out your retirement accounts. And then, you know what I mean? And then you got the other people that's like me, that's like cash flow, and then worry about that stuff later.
I think I'm a mix. I'm kind of curious to see what Alex says, but I think I'm a pretty fair mix. I try to be as balanced and diversified as possible. I do trade quite a bit as far as crypto goes. My whole end goal and end mission is not to have all the crypto. So I do take money out of crypto every week. Every single week, I take a minimum of $1,000 at least out of crypto and put that either into my Roth, into real estate, into the kids' 529s, just stuff like that. And because I'm only I only want a certain percentage of my wealth to be crypto. I don't want it to be too much. So that's why I do that. Now, every time I do that, I'm also sending money to BTC and to ETH, because part of my long-term strategy is to have more BTC, more ETH. There's not a single other altcoin that I'm trying to acquire and stack up in a long-term goal. But for me, I sleep better at night knowing that I have at least 4 to 6 months of expenses in my bank account at all times. To me, that's a very big deal. I'm married with 2 kids, so that's a very big deal to me. And that's just a big part of my strategy. And then, of course, I'm not into debt. So other than my house, I have no debt. And so I'm trying to pay off my house as quick as possible because I just think that that's like the most horrible thing. So how about you, Alex?
I'm in a similar boat with you. I think for me, it's most important to have an emergency fund. I try to push it all the way to 6 months, especially as an entrepreneur. You don't know sometimes how sure your income streams are. Things change, clients leave. Sometimes you have to go find new work, and that can take time. So having that buffer, that safety net, I think is super important. So I try to first pay off all my debts, basically, except for my mortgage. So that way my cash flow gets put to, those savings that I need. And then it goes into those savings. And then from there, just like you, I want to pay down my mortgage as soon as possible. I run my nonprofit here on my farm. So like paying off the farm is like most important to me, just for like financial security and a sense of peace. So that way, the only thing that could happen in terms of this entire operation getting rug pulled out from under me would be if the government, decided to, because of tax stuff. But like, I don't want a bank to be I don't want a bank to own my house, right? I want to own my house and my land here. So that's, I think, and also running this nonprofit, it's super cash intensive. Like we have a lot of expenses. So getting a bigger cash flow, a larger income is like super important. If I dip below a certain income, we have to dip into that 6-month fund. And, I've got me, my wife, and 30 plus animals, all depending on my cash flow, right?
Right.
So it's a mix for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it changes, right? As you're kind of going through life, it changes so much, and then things just pop up. I mean, we've had like this summer, we had our AC go out, so there goes like 15K. We had our deck had to be
Oof.
completely done. There goes like 28K. Like it's just like the expenses just keep on coming. So it's good to have those buffers so that when those things happen, you're not like in a stressful situation. And when I think about the fact that right now in the U.S., people's savings accounts have never been lower, but their debt has never been higher, it is pretty scary to know that that's the situation right now in our country, because sooner or later something, I don't see how that's going to rectify itself. So what are you going to have all these 60, 65, 70-year olds who are dead broke trying to figure out how they're going to eat when they can no longer work, because that's kind of like where we're going. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out. Is it just going to be the government having to bail all those people out? Well, then who pays for that? So there's all these different ways of looking at it. But yeah, I mean, as you get older, you just start thinking more and more about that. And it does affect, for me, it does affect how I trade. As you guys can probably tell, I'm more of a very patient trader. I look for the very easy trades and try to be very non-aggressive. And yet I'm in DeFi. So I know that sounds crazy. It's like, what? That makes no sense. But if, after a while, you kind of notice you can find value spots all the time. They're there. You just got to be super patient. I mean, you can't tell me that, this week Frozen Walrus at $64 a share token wasn't a value spot. My God, so like, and those spots kind of come up all the time. But yeah, so it's kind of funny saying that I consider myself conservative, and here I am in the DeFi streets. I don't know, but
What's funny? I talk to Austin about this pretty often. I follow like the Dave Ramsey total money makeover plan, right? That got me out of horrible debt many years ago. And like I get to the point where I have like the 6-month fund built up, and then it's like it's going, the rest is after that goes to like retirement and the mortgage. But I set a good chunk aside for recreation, which is disposable income that I use for what I consider gambling and higher risk speculative DeFi plays. And part of my retirement too is some cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is part of my retirement plan. As crazy as that sounds, I know it's kind of a gamble, but that's a DeFi, decentralized, trustless protocol, right? And so that's DeFi, and it's actually part of my retirement along with the 401k, the Roth.
What percentage?
and
What
everything like
percentage
that.
of your retirement do you think your Bitcoin's going to be?
Oh, you're making them do math.
And follow-up question.
6.
No,
I don't know.
Question, because I think that changes.
Probably like 15 or 20%. It depends. It changes depending on the price.
It's so volatile.
Yeah. So if it's a bear market, I might be putting more towards like crypto. If I see there's more value to be had when there's more blood in the streets in Bitcoin than in the S&P 500. You know what I mean? So like right now, I'd put in more towards Bitcoin because man, Bitcoin could 5x in the next bull run, where we might just kind of bounce back, in the stock market and maybe go back to where we were and a little bit more. So like to me, I see a little. So I don't know. It's kind of risky to be trading like that for your retirement portfolio, I guess. So don't take any of this as financial advice.
I hear people all the time of doing like options and all that craziness, and they're like Roth IRAs and all that. I'm just like, bro,
I know.
You guys are better men than me, because I could not do that. And that was like, that's like one thing I was like asking, that why you guys would choose passive income or like cash flow over like wealth building, I guess, is because when I first ever got interested in money is, I was following Dave Ramsey, and I was like always wondering, why is so many people like, why is he always so defensive? Like, why is he always talking about people making fun of his strategies and stuff? And then I started like understanding and learning about real estate and all this stuff and comparing these risky assets versus what he's talking about. I'm like, okay, maybe Dave Ramsey's great at getting you out of debt, but man, I could have been growing money way quicker doing other things, right? So then because I was like, for I think 3 years in a row, I was maxing out my Roth in my M1 finance account. I had a super high allocation in my TSP, which is like the federal government's 401k when you're in the military. And I was like, doing all that stuff. And it's like, bro, I could have used this money to put it into like cash flowing things now to like replace my income so I can do what I want and then focus on, building that up later. So I think like I love hearing people's answers when it comes to that, because it's like I don't really, for me personally, where I'm young, I'm okay with taking chances, having a little bit higher allocation in crypto, taking a little bit more like weird ventures. Like I totally bombed drop shipping. I tried drop shipping. I was going to do a whole video on it. It wasn't even valuable because of how
Uh-huh.
bad I failed. But it's like I'm okay with doing that type of stuff, because I'm young. It's okay. I don't care if I lose a little bit of money here because I have so many years of getting it back. And I think I'll probably do a lot more Roth IRA type of stuff and like maxing it out maybe in the future once, I'm just like, hey,
Or
I can wake up one morning and make everything passive.
or maybe a mix, right, Austin? Because I think that it is important to at least have that baseline that it sounds like you already started.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 10% of your income, just building that baseline, and then that in itself is gonna, every 8 years, it should double, right? That's been statistically what happens every 8 to 9 years.
Yeah.
And So just think about that. So every 8 to 9 years, you're doubling it, even if you're just putting 10%. So looking back at the mistakes I made in my 20s, I feel like I didn't save enough in my 20s. I
Yeah.
wish I would have. Thinking kind of like thinking, it's okay. I'll just I'll make up for it in my 30s, right? And I think that was the biggest mistake I did. Is just thinking, well, I have all this time. And then I did have to and so now at my age, now here I am with like 3-4 different revenue streams, and some of it is just because I like to stay busy and like to do a lot of things, but some of it is because, well, maybe if I would have saved more in my 20s, I wouldn't have to have 3-4 revenue streams, today, right? It's just interesting to see how that all pans out. But I mean, the biggest advice I always give is just make sure you build that baseline, put that 10% at least, and you can build from that. But Austin, you didn't answer the BTC question. Like, are you trying to stack BTC? If so, how much? Like, or is that not at all important to you?
So I actually made a tweet about this a while back, and my main goal of this year for 2022 is at the end of the year, at least acquire one Bitcoin, like have at least one Bitcoin and 3 Ethereum. And I'm making some headway on it, but it's like if I make it, that'd be great. It's kind of like just a financial goal that is cool to like have something to kind of work towards, but I'm not like
Mm-hmm.
going to beat myself up if I don't make it, because my thoughts on Bitcoin is it's just been one of the first major names in the crypto industry, but I personally don't see a lot of value in Bitcoin when it comes to everything we've seen over the years. Like when we first heard of Bitcoin, people were like, it's a store of value, blah, blah. And at the beginning, it was a very widely used token, right? It did have that valuable thing. But now we have USDC. I don't need to buy Bitcoin to send money from me to you. I can just buy USDC that I know it's always going to be a 1-to-1 ratio to the US dollar. So it's like, why do I really want Bitcoin? So like, yeah, Bitcoin is like going to always be the major player. It's always going to be, something that's going to have longevity. It's going to grow, but uh, it's just like, I don't know. I'm just not fascinated by it.
For me,
Interesting.
it's less about using Bitcoin as a currency and more about it as a store of value.
Yeah, just
Uh,
buying a hold investment, really.
yeah, so to me,
Yeah.
digital gold is an analogy that's often used, and that's kind of how I see it, where it's like a secure network. It's almost impossible to break because so many people are mining Bitcoin all over the world, and if it just and it's completely trustless. So USDC is very centralized, right? So that if something happened to that business, USDC is done for. If But you can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't take out Bitcoin. So for me, like I'm kind of like a Michael Saylor style Bitcoin maxi, except I'm not going to tell you to mortgage your house to buy
No,
Bitcoin because that's
no.
crazy, right? Terrible advice there. But uh, at the same time, some people might get super rich doing it. So I don't know. I don't give financial advice, whatever. But to me, like I said, I take a hybrid approach to like I'm like Dave Ramsey meets Michael Saylor meets a DeFi degen. Like I got halfway through the Dave Ramsey plan and I'm like, I'm pretty comfortable here. Now I'm going to start stacking Bitcoin and see if I can't get some 10 or 100 X's in some of these crazier DeFi projects and then roll that back into my longer term investments.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. I like that. So I guess the second part to that question is you get to how many Bitcoin you want to have, because this is like a situation that I've been thinking a lot about.
Yeah.
And then Bitcoin goes to, I don't know, let's say 100K. So is that time now to sell it, or this is your, I'm not selling it no matter what till I'm 70? Like, what is your approach there? Or like, because that's really I think that's going to be the
Yeah.
problem that we're going to have at some point towards the end of the next bull run, and we're not going to know when it is. Right? There'll be some new narrative that makes us think it's going 3x from there, but
That's how they
Yeah.
get you.
that's
Well, it's like
that's
what
Get
Alex
you,
said,
man.
right? It's like what Alex said with where people make the funny analogy that Bitcoin is like a digital gold because it's just something that's literally been around forever. It's everything in the crypto market is based around the fluctuation of Bitcoin. Like it's there, right? So I think like even if it were to hit like $100,000, I think people that want to have the aspirations of just holding Bitcoin is to like have something to fall back on if they had to liquidate like their super long term investments. You know what I mean? So like for somebody like me, there goes my camera. I need a Bitcoin to pay for a new camera. But when it comes to like if I were to achieve my goal at the end of the year of one Bitcoin, right, and then boom, 2023, it's the start of the bull run. Bitcoin hits $100,000. I still wouldn't liquidate it until like I would absolutely need it. Like that's my long term where when it does get shoot 200, 300 grand when I'm like 50, 60 years old, if that happens, right? I'd be like, okay, sweet. I want to freaking go on an extravagant vacation or buy me something nice. I don't know. I'll liquidate my Bitcoin. I'll be like, there we go. It's ran its course, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of
interesting.
how
So
I see it.
it sounds like all three of us are still struggling with our exit strategy then, which is
I
funny.
I don't think anybody has a clear one.
my exit strategy is retirement. So I actually own my the good portion of my Bitcoin in my 401k as uh GBTC, uh Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And if right now it's on extra discount. So there's a thing called premium to NAV, and for uh Grayscale is, it's supposed to be pegged to the price of Bitcoin, but it trades above and below based on the demand for GBTC.
Mhm.
And right now, because we're in a bear market, sometimes you can get an extra 20+% discount below the price of Bitcoin. So even though Bitcoin's what, like 22, 23 right now, you could probably get it for 15, 16 through GBTC. And then when the price comes back up and sentiment's strong and bullish, say Bitcoin's back to 60,000, if it's trading 20% above NAV, then all of a sudden your GBTCs were 70 or 80 grand a share. So that's, I think, a way that institutions right now, uh, this is my conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat time. I
Uh-huh.
think a lot of these markets, including crypto, are heavily manipulated by big institutional players. And I think
Oh,
they
easy.
during this
Oh
bear
yeah.
market, I think they really crashed the prices down below what we thought it would happen. And now that GBTC is available for hedge funds, people are buying up GBTC at this huge discount. So they're basically getting virtual Bitcoin in their portfolios for like 20-30% off on top of a super bear market dip. So they're getting crazy cheap Bitcoin, stacking it up in their hedge funds, and then the next bear market or bull market, their portfolios are going to just be
Huge.
massive because they're going to get the GBTC price pegged to Bitcoin plus another 20% once that net premium to NAV swings the other way. So, yeah.
No, that makes a lot
Anyway,
of sense. So how are you guys playing the whole like with like play to earn and those kind of more risky assets that I
Mm,
think could give the really crazy returns? We already saw some of that last winter slash fall. I mean autumn kind of time frame. I think it was like October, November when like it seemed like every play to earn metaverse token just went nuts. 8x's, 10x's, 12x's were all over the place. And then it was just a matter of like trying to figure out, when you're going to take profit and all that kind of stuff. So how does that play into it with you guys? Because I feel like right now that whole space probably has the most potential, but it's just not there yet. I look at some of these market caps of like Ultra, Veracity, UFO, all those big kind of metaverse games that Alex Becker and and some of those other big YouTubers kind of like they basically talked it up and built up narratives, and it worked, right? I mean, everyone kind of decided that they were going to go into it. I feel like that's the most potential, but we're not there yet. So what are your thoughts on how you're going to play with those types of assets?
Man, I'm not even touching it right now. Like, I think a lot of the value is in the hype right now with like play to earn and metaverse this, metaverse that, like Sandbox. There's another
Yes.
one, Decentraland's one of them with digital
Mm-hmm.
real estate and all that. It's like at the end of the day, you're going to need one of these to take off, just like Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin was stagnant forever, and then all of a sudden it just took off, and you're just going to need one of these to be the main industry leader, and then people are going to follow. And to invest in this stuff right now, just like I tell people, it's a gamble. It's literally you're betting on all these different ones, and hopefully you're the lucky one that is the industry standard, and you get 100x on your money or something crazy like that, because that's usually what happens. And I think I cringe every time I listen to like AMAs and projects when the question gets asked, "What are you guys doing in the metaverse?" It's like the metaverse isn't even like an
What the hell?
established
What the
thing
hell does
yet,
that even
and
mean? The metaverse
I
is such a
hate
funny
it,
term.
exactly. And
Like
it's like
people
what do
just
you
call
mean?
everything the metaverse.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what are you talking about?
I'm
What
in
are
the
they going to do in the
metaverse right now,
metaverse?
guys. What? This is
Like, do you want them to be
crazy.
on an Oculus Rift? Do you want digital real estate? Do you want a video game in the like? There's like the metaverse. It could be its whole asset in general. You know what I mean? Like you got
Yeah,
crypto, and then you got the metaverse. Like
you could
it
have
could
an
be so many different things.
HTML5. You could have an HTML5 canvas 2D game. Basically,
Yeah,
that's just like HTML and JavaScript, and like that's the metaverse in some of these projects, right? And it's just like so. The metaverse is this ethereal term. It's a basically a trendy marketing buzzword right now, and
yeah.
people were like you were saying last fall, Enrique. People were just throwing around the word metaverse, and money it would just fall in their laps.
Yeah.
And I think right now people are a little more bearish, a little more uh, risk averse. So when people start tossing around those buzzwords again, people might get a little standoffish. Like we're kind of sitting here laughing about it now. I think that's kind of a general sentiment. However, there is potential there. So some of these
Oh yeah.
altcoins, like you were talking about, like I don't know, like Decentraland and what was the other one, Sandbox, and some of these other
Yeah.
ones, like they might be really great tech companies, small software startups that could 10 to 100x. Like who knows? You don't really know. I mean, you could really dig down into the weeds on their technology and what their offerings are, but um, if you're bullish on the whole metaverse concept, like really define what that means to you. If does that mean a web browser game? Does that mean a 3D MMORPG style game? Does
Mm-hmm.
that mean a VR world? Is that like an ecosystem like Second Life? If you guys remember that game, is it
No,
some
great
way to
points. Yeah. Yeah.
is it some way that connects all of them? Is it more just like the state variables stored on a blockchain somewhere that you can then interact with in all these different mediums that I just explained? Is that what the metaverse really is? Is that kind of like trustless data that's out there? I don't know. So you really gotta, I don't want to give financial advice or anything, but I always think diversification is good. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're bullish on the metaverse concept going forwards, it's so new, it's like even hard to define. Maybe spread, that out so you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Because if one of those companies flops, that's not going to be great. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're in 10 of them and you kind of spread it around, and one of them 100x is, that seems like a pretty good return, if you ask me.
Absolutely. No, I mean, those are great points because there are so many different types of different assets within that whole kind of metaverse play to earn. Um, I guess you can call it niche. And I just wanted to point out veracity. I wanted to point out two things that I think are really interesting here that most people just completely ignore. And this is why I'm always trying to warn people about them right now still. A lot of people will see this right here. They'll see the veracity 1 year chart and see that you're getting it at like a 90% discount and think, oh my God, that's wonderful. It's starting to bottom out. Oh my God, again, that's wonderful. And that is wonderful. But this is the problem with most of these tokens. And if you see right here, Look at the circulating supply, guys. Look at the fully diluted market cap. Look at the market cap. We still have 91% of the tokens that are still going to be in supply pretty soon, right? At some point. So just think about that. You're going to have that kind of sell pressure on this asset to where even though the market cap right now is 60 mil, it really should be 10 times that. And I don't think most people are thinking about that. And so that makes an asset like this really hard to get bullish on because there's going to be so much sell pressure as the circulating supply gets bigger and bigger. I mean, we're still missing 91%. And you look at many of these types of tokens and you just see that time and time again with so many of them. I think UFO is the only one that actually has 100%. So that's my, and their sand and Decentraland, you guys brought those two up. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what their circulating supply looks like. Oh, wow, it's actually not too bad. Okay, for this one. But again, I just don't know if we're there. You know, what is the metaverse? What does it mean to me? It just means potential to me, really. It's not something that you know the revenue's there yet, and so. But I do think that that's going to be the kind of asset that really creates really life-changing money. Is those kinds of plays. So you kind of have to think in that way. You know, I've been trying to think a lot about, well, what's the next Solana? What's going to be the next? I don't know, the next. You know, maybe token or project that benefits the most from BNB because of the fact that, you know, that BNB and everything that CZ is doing seems to be working and it just seems to be growing more and more. So what are they going to be doing as far as how they try to, you know, grow and expand their footprint? Who's going to benefit the most? I'm trying to think that way and trying to like do my research in that kind of way where I'm trying to think a little bit outside of the box because I'm trying to find one of those big plays that is the 100x, the 200x. So that's kind of like where my mind has been going in regards to that sort of play. Austin, what about you?
Yeah, man, it's like, I think, and I made a tweet about this too, I think like a day or two ago. And it's like, I even see these metaverse games and these metaverse projects and stuff that come out with these tokens. And it's like, why can't they just be like a project without a token? You know, does that make sense?
Because they can't make money. Because they can't make money.
Right? And it's like, dude, even to generate revenue, right? If you wanted to be a legit metaverse project or just a project in general that you have a service that just doesn't need a token, like, why not just do, like, I think that's an untapped market in crypto and in metaverse and just everything in general when it comes to DeFi is, bro, if you could just produce a service or something, screw being a token, screw, you know, trying to be the mainstream whatever in crypto, just find something that you could be incredibly good at and provide a service to DeFi, and you would probably make more money and have less stress of just not having a token altogether, right? Because if you could just have, like, so for Metaverse, right? So for Decentraland, or if we're talking about Sandbox, whatever, why can't you just have this platform, right, where everybody can come and have fun to, you partner with somebody else with a token, or you just use USDC or something, I don't know, to exchange value within the platform and say, screw the tokenomics and all that. Just focus on hosting that platform. So it's like, that's what really just infuriates me, because I'm not going to name drop any projects, but there was this project, right? And they want to do real estate. And I've seen four different projects so far fail, not scam or do anything or rug, just fail because they have the real estate knowledge and they have the crypto knowledge. Like, they have somebody within the crypto team, but it's like they put that together and they have, but we're also going to provide a 40,000% APY token. It's like, what? Why do that? Just do what you're good at and bridge the gap between real estate and crypto. You don't have to have a token or a ring basing or something crazy or a node or, you know, whatever.
I mean, there are multiple benefits. I mean, it's a marketing play, it's a crowdfunding play, and it brings in a certain crowd of people, and then also they can have like a equity in that token if they do team tokens and stuff. There is a project that my buddy ZZ is starting, and I'm just gonna plug it. I'm not paid, I'm not a shill or whatever. I actually helped him on the code on this over the last year.
It's not the CZ though, right? It's not the CZ.
No. Okay. That's just his nickname out here, but it's called Bit Fighters. It hasn't launched yet. But what you were saying, Austin, there's no token for it. So like he's not creating a token. He's just creating like some cool creative smart contracts and some like NFTs for your characters. And then like the smart contracts just kind of interact with how with your NFTs, and then you can like battle out to get Bitcoin, well, wrapped Bitcoin as the rewards. And then there's no like funny business with a token that's like inflating like crazy. And like, so he actually basically he sounded like what you just sounded like when he was talking to me about it. He's like, I don't want to do one of these crazy tokens that everybody's doing. I just want like the smart contracts and the NFTs, and then like I'll just put some money into it for Bitcoin for the rewards, and then let people like buy these items and NFTs to get more of like a reward pool for people then to like battle over bit fighters, And I was like, that's a great idea, versus 80,000% APY, another one of these, which I love those projects, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I love them.
I know you do. We know you do. Don't say you don't.
Yeah, if you know how to...
There's a place for them. You know what I mean? There's a place, but if you don't have like look at Wolfer Finance. He doesn't have a token. He has an NFT, and it's not even really an NFT project. It's just a place where you can have verifiable ownership of that revenue share. And this is where I even had a conversation with Hydra Wells. Sam from Hydra Wells is they actually in the future have tokens coming out, but not right now. Currently, it's just it's just NFT. And I'm still on the fence of like, what does that token really do or provide additional value? Like, why not just not have a token in general? So it's like, oh, man,
I did a 6-hour.
What you're good at.
I did a 6-hour video chat with Sam last night, and 2 hours of it's recorded in an AMA. It's a really good one. It's coming out in the next couple days. I got some work to do on it, but like their ecosystem's awesome, I think, and I love their like utility NFTs. The token thing though, I haven't really dug into that, so I was more focused on like their gold business that they're doing. But like you said, the NFTs are a great thing to show like verifiable ownership that you can then use for like profit sharing for a business or multiple businesses like they're doing, and like Wolfer Finance as well. Those I think are interesting and kind of unique out here right now, at least in the circles we run with.
All right, guys. So we have a question. It's actually a really good question. And because I'm always wondering if I'm doing it the best way possible. So I can't wait to hear how you guys answer this. What do you guys use for getting your crypto back to USD? Just the decentralized exchanges, or is there a better way? So I think we don't talk about these kinds of important details enough, because everyone seems to always have like a cheaper way of doing it. And if you're doing this like me on a weekly basis, you want to find out the cheapest way. So Alex, what about you? What do you think is the best and cheapest way to do it?
I think Lawrence is an undercover IRS agent out to get me right now. So
he's taking notes.
So I don't know. Since this is DeFi, I don't want to off ramp funds all the time, because then it creates kind of a mess come tax season. Enrique, you understand, you're a tax guy, and like it's all up in the air too right now. Like we don't really understand all of the nuances, I think, with the tax stuff, with some of this DeFi. So I don't want to incriminate myself. Let's see. Like you can actually buy certain services and products with crypto. So like if you guys use Amazon, like you can get gift cards for Amazon. If you guys buy your groceries at Whole Foods, you can actually use your crypto profits to pay for your groceries, right? And like our animal sanctuary, we buy a lot of our animal foods, medicines, like just the tools and toys and things that we use for the animals. Like every day we buy on Amazon and have it shipped here out in Timbuktu where I live. So I can actually use my crypto business to fund all that stuff that way without creating a very confusing situation. I think I take like a 5 to 8% shave maybe on buying like a gift card with crypto.
But that's high. That's high. 8 to 10.
That is high. That is
my
high.
Gosh. Oof.
Sometimes less. It depends. If you buy higher amounts, you can get it lower. But it changes. There are marketplaces out there. And like, do you guys remember what was like a year or two ago in Nigeria? They had this whole thing where like their government like clamped down on Bitcoin and crypto in their country because the government wanted to force everybody to use their central banks, but like so many of them were bankless anyway. They didn't have like a lot of people there didn't have bank accounts, but they still wanted to do business. So what happened was to get crypto to them is they had like they would use gift cards, like, and they would buy gift cards and then trade those for crypto, and then they could get crypto, and then they could do business with each other using cryptocurrency in a decentralized fashion. And so I thought that was really cool that people were using uh, gift cards as a medium of exchange. Like I got a Nike gift card right here, and they use that as a medium of exchange to get crypto into their wallet in their country. So I think gift cards are an interesting method. And then also like there's like the crypto.com debit card and other debit cards like that where you can put your crypto on a centralized exchange. They hold it as collateral, and then you can like swipe that as a debit card to buy things in the real world. And I'm sure like if the IRS ever like asked them, hey, give me all your data on this customer, like they would fully comply. So like if you get audited, they would probably screw you over that way. But like why would you get audited? Because we're all doing everything above board tax wise anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can do things totally right and still get audited. It's just sometimes it's just, a chance thing, right? And I
Yeah.
hear the IRS about to hire a bunch of people. So, guys, just, not, this is not a legal advice kind of show or anything, but just my advice would be to do things right, do it, above board and definitely do that as much as you can,
Yep.
just in case sooner or later, I think anyone that's involved in crypto will probably be audited sooner or later. So, might as well just do things right. Austin, do you want to give it a shot at Lawrence's question?
Yeah, for sure. So as far as taxes go, starting this year, because last year was pretty easy for me to do it myself. But this year, where I have just so many transactions, so much like
Yes.
projects and money that is going to different stuff, I'm going to use cointracker.io because they actually work with TurboTax and generate the tax forms required based on your actual wallet. So it's a really, really sweet platform. And as far as
I'm
getting
actually
money
gonna write
from,
that down, dude. I am.
yeah,
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 that's
I don't
actually
even know
good
where to
advice.
start. I don't even know where to start with all this
everybody,
stuff.
write it down. Cointracker.io. It's really, really useful.
But you can use it
But
without being integrated to TurboTax, right?
yeah. You don't have to
Okay.
use it. It'll generate the forms, and then you can, plug and play with your accountant or whatever.
Okay.
But when it comes to getting money from DeFi to literally my fiat bank account, fun fact, I literally just uploaded my video today for Operation Give Back, and
I
in
saw
that
that.
video, in that like I think it was like literally just a 1 minute segment at the beginning to show people from the charity wallet to what I did. So I had the money on Polygon, but you can literally replicate this however you want. Is I had the money on Polygon. I bridged it to Binance. I make sure to use my Binance.us account. So if you're not in the US, just use your regular Binance account. And then that's where my intermediary place goes to because it's connected to my fiat bank account. So if I had money on Polygon, I'll bridge it to Binance via USDC or BUSD, whatever, send that to your Binance account. And then from your Binance account, trade it for USD or whatever your native currency is, and then boom, you can just deposit into your linked bank account. And it's pretty easy. I got it within like 2 days. It's really fast. It doesn't. I
Okay.
think from all the way from Polygon to Binance, I only paid like $3 in fees for everything. So it's really
Yeah.
cost
Yeah.
efficient.
I used to do it, I think, almost exactly like you, but I'm in Texas, so Binance is no longer an option in Texas.
Oh wow, you can't use that in Texas?
No, so that kind of complicated
Wow.
things. So what I started doing a while back ago, I started using AVAX to send it over to Coinbase Pro to Coinbase to my bank account, and that's how I do it with all of my different wallets. I have each of my wallets because I'm so worried that something goes wrong or I get hacked or something. I have each of them linked to a different Coinbase account, so it's a little bit of a hassle.
Oh
But
man.
it's the only way to keep each one is in its own lane, and there's never any kind of overlap between any of these three wallets that I trade a lot with. I actually have a fourth one that I do have overlap with the third wallet, but that's been my process using ever since that happened. AVAX, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase Bank account. That's been it for me, Lawrence, I think that's the least expensive way. Outside of what Austin did. So, Lawrence, if you're not in Texas or you're in a state that you can use Binance US, I would definitely do that because Coinbase gets me. Coinbase gets me with I think it's a $3 fee
Oh,
when
they're stupid expensive.
and then they also hit me with another fee. But where they really hit you is that when you sell sell it back to USD, you don't get it at whatever price is the market price. Like they always kind of shave off a little bit, so they get you there for about $20. So
BlockFi does that too. It's really bad.
They do it, yeah. And
Oh,
I use
man.
Coinbase as well to on ramp and off ramp with my bank account, with my fiat bank account, and I've just been hesitant to do it because last year when I was doing my taxes, I on ramped more than I off ramped, I guess, and it's because I took losses on my on some of my trades, and but then doing the auditing part of all the DeFi stuff was it was super confusing. So something I don't know, what you were saying, Austin, that app, because coming this year, I've done so much more DeFi stuff, claiming and staking a million times. I have 15,000 transactions on my wallet. So when come tax season, I don't even know where to start. When I off ramp something, and then I've got I forget what is it, it's like W9 or I forget whatever Coinbase generates.
1099.
1099. I've got to kind of explain what the difference is, what I put in to what I put out, and if I made a gain, how that happened, and if any of it was a donation, because I've gotten donations for my sanctuary, so I'm gonna have to do what Enrique was saying. I'm gonna have to create a separate wallet and set up a separate Coinbase account just for my nonprofit entity, and then that way it can have its own lane that doesn't get muddied with all of my personal trading, and then that way taxes will be a lot easier for those separate entities, because right now, dude, I'm just it's a cluster,
Yeah.
Well, another cool thing with CoinTracker is not only is it great with taxes, but it's totally free. This isn't sponsored, all right? It's totally free. And when you sign up and connect all your different accounts and stuff to it, it'll send you daily alerts, and it can either make you happy or it can either make you sad, because it'll show your little daily percentage and if you've made money or not. Because where I'm in a lot of passive income plays, it'll say some days I'll be up and it'll say hey, you made plus $25 or plus $50 or something like that. And other days they'll say minus $4 or minus $100 or whatever. So it's pretty cool. You can actually see what your daily net worth in crypto is going up or down. So that's pretty cool too.
And does it track all these protocols? Because I know things like DBank is hard for me because I like to jump into very new protocols and try to get in early on a lot of these things, be it things I think that are going to blow up. And they're not in DBank. So when I try to look at my net value of my wallet, it always seems to be missing a few $1,000s, and I have to go open up those dApps and account for it. Does it track all that smaller protocols too?
It's pretty accurate. I'm trying to log in now. Naturally, I forgot my password, so I'm probably gonna have to go reset the password. But yeah, every time I check it, it matched up pretty accurate. And I'm in a lot of super DeFi plays like Ooze Finance and all that. And so if it doesn't detect if it's say for Ooze Finance, right? Because it's super new, it's still really degen. So for Ooze Finance, it'll just say,
wait, a project named Ooze is degen? No way.
My Ooze stuff doesn't show up. My Ooze doesn't show up on DBank, so I see what you're saying.
So it'll show Phantom because it's on the Phantom network. So it'll say net worth Phantom X amount of dollars. So and that's the money you have in Ooze, and then it'll track so if I either take profit from Ooze or if I compound an Ooze, it'll either go down because I compounded or it'll go up because I withdrew and I'll turn it into USDC or something. So it's relatively accurate. I'm sure there's probably some that, if you have Doge Elon Musk to the moon token and it was just made yesterday, probably not. But for the most part, yeah, it's pretty good. It
sounds like it's doing it per blockchain, and it's looking at your transactions, basically what's coming in and going out of your wallet. right? Just on
Yep.
each chain. That's huge. I could.
And it's a really good security
need.
feature too, because it'll
Yeah.
pop up. It'll say like recent transactions. So if you ever like actually are monitoring your wallets, if you've ever gotten hacked or something, you'll see like, what the heck? I didn't do this transaction. So you can kind of like audit yourself to make sure like these are all your transactions and you're not like being shadow hacked or something like that, where people are like bleeding you.
We need to contact CoinTracker now and get them to sponsor
Sponsor
us,
the show. Yeah.
and then we can use
Yeah,
that to do some
first
more
sponsorship.
degen plays.
That's
Yeah,
good
they've
to
been pretty
know.
good for sure.
Yeah, it's good to know. Yeah, I mean, there's a million different ways you can do it, and then we didn't, we can have this as an off conversation. But then when you're a YouTube creator, that also plays into the whole. Then it gets even more complicated with Schedule Cs and all sorts of stuff. So, but we don't want to bore everyone with
my
that
wallet's
conversation.
so messy, bro. It's everything's just like bleh, in one wallet. I don't even like.
So you just have one wallet?
Bro, it's all public. Like all my stuff's public. You can see everything I'm doing. I like. I'm going to set up a separate wallet, like I said, for like the animal sanctuary nonprofit and separate that. But like, I've been trying to do everything just with one wallet, so like fully transparent and stuff. Oh, dude, it's a nightmare.
How about you, Austin? How many wallets do you have?
I'm sitting here looking through them. As soon as he said that, I'm like going through them right now. So I got I have my starter hot wallet. Okay. This is when I first got into DeFi. And then I have my charity wallet. So that's number 2. I have like a test wallet where I'll like test things out. So
I have a test
3.
wallet. Yeah.
I have my
for like tutorial
wallet,
videos.
Okay. And that's my main one. So that's 4. And then I have my EMP sniping wallet with me and my friends. So that's 5. So about 6.
Okay, that's about what I have.
Yeah.
But only one of mine's doxed. Yeah.
You guys are sophisticated, man.
Dude, I could not, especially where like I try to be as far as like the charity thing goes. Yeah, I wasn't even messing with intermingling that with my money in any way, shape, or form.
This all happened so fast. Like somebody just like offered it, and I was just like, yeah, here's my wallet, and they sent it, and now I'm just like. And I talked with my wife, and I'm like, I think we need to like, because other people have offered now, like, hey, can I donate? And I'm like, yeah, but let me set up something separate so like you can see where the funds go, and it's not like mixing in with my gambling. And like, oh, a new Tomb Fork, let me throw that in there. You know what I mean?
So while we're on the subject of like security wallets, I actually have I hope it's a really good question. Might be the dumbest question ever, but we were all talking about MDB, and if you want to get all the benefits of being in the, what is it called, the Millionaires Club, you have to connect your wallet to Discord. So I was gonna do it. I got scared. I was like, I don't want to connect my wallet to Discord, whatever that is. So I didn't do it. Yeah. Am I being too paranoid, or like?
I'm super paranoid too. I mean, remember Sam from Hydro Whales? Sam from Hydro Whales got his Discord account taken over because of an integration he had with a third-party application, probably one of these like server verification things, and somehow it exposed one of his login tokens, and someone sniped it and used it to log in and post phishing links in Hydro Whales a couple weeks ago. So I'm super sketched out by anything that Discord's trying to do.
Me too. I was like, yeah, I guess I won't be a member of the Millionaires Club, I guess. I didn't do it. Yeah. Okay. So at least I'm not the only one that's like paranoid like that. But I would be curious to see if anyone watching had any other questions like that, because it just seems to be like one of those things that comes across all the time, and you're just like, you get a little spooked out. So that's why I have so many wallets. If I do end up clicking on the wrong button one of these days, at least I'll only lose 25 to 30% of my crypto net worth instead of all of it. So
I need to do it for that reason too. I need to diversify my wallets for that reason alone. I think that's a great point you made.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name him, but there's a DeFi YouTuber that I'm sure you guys know who he is, and he thought he was talking to a project, and it turned out he wasn't. And they sent him a link. He thought it was a link to like study the white paper, I don't know what. Clicked on it, and he lost like a third of his net worth.
Dude.
So my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of those where they send little like it looks like a PDF, and they'll click on it, and it like it's super small storage space wise, and it like scans your whole computer. And I just hit my mic.
Yeah, that was good. That was
Don't
very,
ever
like,
click PDF files. If somebody sends you a PDF and you don't know them, don't click PDFs because people embed viruses in PDFs. And I actually, dude, if you guys remember when I was on Dow King's show like a month or two ago,
Oh,
I
the
got
Russians.
hacked.
The
I got
Russians
hacked by
got
the
you.
Russians, bro. Like one
What?
of them.
You got hacked by the Russians?
Austin, where you been, dude? All
What are you
right.
talking about?
Do you want to hear what happened?
I want to hear how you got hacked by the Russians. Yes.
All right. So you guys will appreciate this because you're YouTube DeFi YouTubers on Discord and Telegram, and you have probably gotten a few scammers pretending to be with projects that they change like one character in a way that's like very subtle, and then they'll like message you and pretend to be somebody from the team. I was actually
Yeah.
in talks with one of these projects, and then walked away for a bit. I came back and I continued, like I just picked up the conversation where we left off. I In that time, somebody else had messaged me pretending to be them on Telegram. And they like just slightly changed the name, like a 1 to an L or something. I didn't notice. And like I have so many conversations going to so many projects at any time that I just like, all right, I just try to fly through them because it's so much drudgery. It's so much work just like vetting these projects. Like, no, I'm not going to work with you. No. Okay, you're cool. No. Like, so anyway, I'm like flying through negotiations with this person, and they're like, I'm like, send me your website. He sends it to me. I go to it, and like everything looks like legit, same, like everything was like looked legit. And then, dude, I ended up like clicking something, and it like downloaded something to my computer, and I freaked out when I was like, dude, what was this website? And literally the domain name was like the same, but just like one letter was like changed slightly, and it was like a straight copy of the website. However, I went into the code of their website, and I went into their JavaScript, and I saw like Russian characters in the comments of the code, and I'm just like, and this was supposed to be a Los Angeles based company, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
what is this? Like, what are these Russian characters? And I'm like, shit. So like I reach out to
Panic.
some,
Time to panic.
I go on Discord and I reach out to the project owners, and I'm like, guys, is this the same person? Like, no, they changed one character. That's a fake site that's been bugging, like taking advantage of people like this. And I'm like, dude. So I reformatted my entire computer, partitioned everything, just wiped everything and started from scratch. I lost a whole bunch of like data, but like I'm not gonna take any chances having a
But
Trojan.
nothing happened though. Okay.
Nothing happened. So like, but I caught it though, because like, how many people don't catch those things, and then they go and make a transaction on their hot wallet and type in their password maybe to their hot wallet, and then they have access to it because if they have a Trojan, they can do a keylogger, they can watch your screen.
Right.
Luckily, I got a cold wallet, but as soon as it started downloading something, I'm like, crap, this isn't right. Just clean slate, not taking any chances, like clean slate. And so, yeah, I got hacked by the Russians, Austin. Luckily, they didn't take anything.
They're watching us right now. They're actually in your computer.
I don't doubt it. And that's why having a physical cold wallet is so important, because like you have to physically approve it. You have to approve the key on here. And that's the only way to unlock, your wallet and approve transactions.
Well,
yeah.
David watching, he just said he got his wallet hacked. So I think it's a lot more common than people say. And I think it's one of those things where sometimes people get hacked and they don't want to tell anyone because they feel like, I probably did something wrong. So there's like a level of embarrassment. And I feel like a lot of people don't come out and say it. Like, David, thanks for letting us know. Like, it happens. And it's not that you did anything wrong. It's just things happen. So I remember when I first started my YouTube channel, some guy was impersonating me before I had 100 subs on Twitter. I was like, what? What is this? And then I had this other project supposedly reach out to me, but felt weird. And I tweeted to the project because they weren't following me, so I couldn't send them a DM. I had to tweet them, hey, does so-and-so work for you guys? And they're like, nope, he doesn't. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. So it's just something we all have to be careful with, regardless of whether you have, a YouTube channel or not. I mean, look at David, it happened to him. And I know a lot of people that it's happened to, way too many. So it's far too common.
And don't be embarrassed. Like I'm a senior software engineer who has been working in the Web 2 world for 15 years. I've been developing, I'm a full stack web application developer, right? And I literally write security code for like dealing with like APIs that I create and like dealing with the front end and the back end and database stuff. So like even with all that experience and knowledge, it's the social engineering that is so tricky and they're so sneaky. So don't be embarrassed. These people are ruthless and they're clever. Just be as vigilant as you can, and if something doesn't seem right, reach out to somebody else and verify that you're talking to the right person. I like Enrique did. That's what I do too now. If I feel like somebody's yanking my chain, I don't click anything they send me, and then I verify if they're really with that team or not. And if they say no, then I say, okay, report and ban that person from Discord or Telegram or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. So we're getting close to an hour. I think we should probably wrap up pretty soon. But I did have one last question for each of you. Do you have like some kind of call, some kind of play that you're like looking at right now, where you're thinking, okay, I really like this token right now? Not financial wise, just three guys talking. We're just talking.
Yeah, I think I've been slowly watching Constellation. I keep telling everybody about this. I think Constellation's going to be insane in the future. Like it's already went crazy price action wise, but I think it just has so much more room to go crazy with. And
Is that DAG one? Is it some? Is it?
Yeah, DAG, DAG.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, you're like
and
the
their
fifth person to
nodes.
say that.
I know people have been telling me about that
And
too.
their node validators right now are just so cheap. Like, dude, I think it's going to be a money pit in the future. They just got so much going on. Like, it would take a whole episode in itself just to explain of everything they're trying to do and achieve. And it's like, dude, crazy.
I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah, it's been on my to-dos. It just seems like a lot of people that I know are always in the know, very sharp. They brought it up several times. So yeah, it's a good one. I need to do my research on it as well. Alex, what about you, man?
So let's see what I'm in a whole bunch of different plays right now, and I'm always hesitant to make any calls or financial advice, especially like some of these projects I've done work for in the past. So I don't want people to think I'm like a secret shill or something like that. Like I don't get paid for any plugs. I'm
Bro,
even
stop
drinking.
Scamming us, man.
Yeah, right. Apparently I've turned to the dark side, even though I'm drinking out of my Alto mug here. But hey, nice person from Alto sent me a mug, and like I'm not a rich man. You send me a coffee mug, I'm going to use it, right? I don't have tons of coffee mugs, so like this is like genius marketing on his part. I'm going to drink out of this mug, right? I love my DeFi mug. Anyway,
that's pretty good marketing, actually.
It's super clever on his part. But I don't know. I'm in so many stuff. Like okay, Liquid Capital. They bumped up their lower threshold from 5 cents to 7.5 cents. So I think a lot of people were trying to dump the price down to buy in cheaper because they've got the liquidity management system, the Hordes LMS, to basically they've got millions of dollars ready to go at 5 cents to keep the price up, and people are going to wait, tank the price, buy back in lower, and then wait for the launch. But they saw that people were doing this, so they bumped it up to 7.5 cents. So that kind of stopped people in their tracks because they're like, oh crap, this play might not be as profitable because they raised that lower limit. So that one kind of leveled out at about 9.5 cents right now. And it's still printing. They've got the variable APY based on volume and everything. So that's still printing. So that's a longer term play for me that I'm feeling better about after they raise that lower limit, because it means the time I'm going to have to wait before I start getting my ROI is going to be less. But dude, I'm in so many different things. Like you just did the Survivor Protocol AMA. I did an AMA with them a few weeks ago, so I got in. I bought into the pre-sale. Me and Austin, I think I used Austin's Operation Giveback code to buy into that. Their price, like they tanked down to $4 because they kind of bungled the launch a bit, but then they like launched the V2 real quick, sorted everything out, and then like the chart's just stupid right now. And I'm like,
to the right,
dude, I'm so happy I held through that whole thing instead of selling at a major loss, because it's up at like $8.50, and launch price or pre-sale was like $6
or
and
5, yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. So like now I'm actually in the game now, thinking like, oh god, I'm at the survivor level tier 10, and if I sell, I'm gonna be down to tier 9. So like now I'm like in the game. That one's fun for me, and
It's
I
a
love
fun
the
one.
super high.
Yeah.
I love the high APY degen stuff. I don't care what anybody says.
Well,
Like
dude, with liquid
DeFi's so
capital,
fun.
and it's like, yeah, if you look at like the freaking 1 minute chart, like it looks terrifying because it's went all the way from 12 cents down to what, 9.5 right now. But like,
Yeah,
dude, I'm not trying to shill anything, of course, but even if it just stays stable for 100 days like Horde, that's some
yeah.
insane profitability. Because I was looking at my, like, full disclosure, I'm invested into it. I put $2,000 into it,
Big
and
baller, man.
even
Wow.
well, and even right now with the price the way it is, I did the math, and post tax, I'm making like, because like gross, I'm making like $45 worth of liquid capital a day, LAR. But after tax, it's like 30 some bucks if you take into consideration the sales tax. That's still crazy. You know what I mean? So like, shoot, even if they just do 100 days, like as soon as I get my ROI, and that's why I tell everybody, be super aggressive at getting your ROI however you
Yes.
can. And then, the rest is gravy. So that's what I've been doing with everything. So as soon as I hit that 2x on liquid capital, taking it out and just letting it ride.
Awesome, dude.
That's fair. Yeah, you got to take profits in crypto. Absolutely. We say it all the time. I'm showing the Horde graph right now, guys. This is all the way back from mid-March. Look at that.
It's crazy, man. It scares me too. It's terrifying.
And so another YouTuber that I think is very bright. You guys know Gerard? He has like the German accent. He does like TA stuff, and he looks like so. A few months ago, he did an analysis on Horde's LMS system, and he's like, I don't know if this is sustainable, and he showed like the balances in the contracts for the LMS at that time, and he's like, they're just going to drain that LMS. Traders are just going to sell, sell, sell. I checked like right when LAR was launching, and I did my super in-depth video. I went back and I verified all those contracts, and I watched his video and I compared it, and Horde's LMS system has even more money, more BUSD in it than it did like 2 months ago, or 2 months before that video I made, when Gerard did his video speculating, can Horde survive this long or any longer? And now it's like 4 or 5 plus months out. The LMS has 1.8 plus million BUSD in it. At like last time I checked, their liquidity right there, they've got 630,000 in BUSD in that liquidity pool, not counting the other half with the Horde.
Yeah.
And how long has that been? Like 5 months?
But dude,
yeah, I mean, that's why I showed it.
This is what makes me scared though, man. It's like, so everything you're saying right now, you know what this is giving me like foreshadowing of is freaking Anchor Protocol. And I know it's not the same mechanics, but it's like the same way of how like you want an algorithmic token to be, right? Where you have it pegged to a certain range where it's great until it's not. Because Anchor Protocol had tons of money, just like how you were like, they got all this money. But bro, as soon as something
don't let Do Kwon make OTC deals. That's the that's
and it's nothing against Horde. It's just God, I don't know.
It's the moral of the story.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, I
was
just gonna say I've been showing this on my weekly DeFi recap almost every week. Just show Horde for at least just 20 seconds. There it is again, it's smooth as butter. There it is again. It's really interesting, and I keep laughing because the sells always outnumber the buys by right now in the last 24 hours it's 3-1, but it's usually like 7-1, 6-1. Like I've been tracking this closely, and it's just really interesting. But apparently
the sells
their
also
bots making money.
There's a I read through the CertiK audit for Horde's LMS when I was doing my in-depth review on LAR on Liquid Capital. Since they're using the LMS, I wanted to understand how it works. It's not open source software, so the best information I could get about the inner workings was from the CertiK audit on Horde's LMS system, and they actually have a double sell happening, and it's so every sell is actually marked as 2 cells on the order book. So if you're looking in Dex Screener or any other order book, the cells will always look this basically just divide the cells by 2 and you'll get the real amount of cells that is
That still,
happening.
ugh.
So you're going to
Interesting.
be at 515 cells versus 346 buys, and it's only happening on cells. Go check the audit. You can see they talk about it there. They also talk about it in the FAQ section on their Discord server. It's just how they did it, and they could have optimized it, but they said the code was more readable and logical the way they have it. So it's just kind of like an artifact of the code. It doesn't affect the logic of anything. And the Certic guys said, hey, you could fix this. It would make it show 1 cell instead of 2. And they said, it's the code is easier to read and understand this way. We're going to keep it this way. So they just state in their Discord server, there's 2 cells for every 1 on the order books. Not many people know that. Yeah.
No, that's really good to know. Thanks, man. Yeah, and to kind of hit on that further, first I do want to say, since we are talking about Horde slash Liquid Capital, look guys, Liquid Capital, I bought a bunch of it on 3 different wallets, and I bought a bunch. So I want to be very, very transparent about that. So when I talk about Liquid Capital, just know that I own quite a bit. And for me, it was just that's one of the reasons why I watched Horde so closely. I just figured that with Liquid Capital, if they're going to be bringing in this same mechanism, and because they brought in such a big raise and they have so many holders, and they have so much going on, and they should have so much in savings, and it should keep growing over and over. I just feel like that should be pretty safe. And those first 30 days, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, you get the 2%, then after 30 days it goes down to 1%, if I remember correctly, right? More or less.
So they have a range for each month. It's like it starts out like from, I forget, like it's like 1.25% to 2% the first month. The next month it goes down to like goes to like 1 to 1.7. I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but they use their volume based calculation, kind of like a volume weighted average.
That's right.
Time weighted average volume over a 7-day period. And then they use that to determine their like daily average volume. And at the end of each week, they will reset the APY to whatever matches the amount of sustainability they have from the taxes that goes to feed the LIF, the Liquid Insurance Fund, which then goes and feeds the LMS, the liquidity management system. So that way it's like sustainable. They're not paying out more in that APY than they're generating in revenue to feed that LMS system.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm definitely bullish on it. When it dropped, like you said, it was kind of scary. It was like, what's going to happen now? But
I was scared too. But at I was watching that, and if you watch the last 30 minutes of my 4-hour video on it, I go over these like potentialities, and the one that I said basically, like I think the second thing I said was, what I think is going to happen is a bunch of people are just going to sell, tank the price down to 5 cents. They're going to buy back in lower and then ride it all the way back up, just like on Horde system. It's just like this, right? Yeah. Going between that range. So people are just going to wait for it to hit 5 cents. No, like there's not going to be as much buy pressure at first. Mm-hmm. But once it hits that 5 cents lower, the only way to go is up. They got millions of dollars, like not only in the liquidity, they got 1.4 million in BUSD in the liquidity pool itself, plus another, I forget how many million in the LMS system supporting that further. So it hits that 7.5 cents now. It's going up. Like, not financial advice, nothing's for sure. Austin, I know you're always paranoid about the algorithmically pegged anything, but like this is basically a bot that will buy anytime it drops below that price. It'll just start buying incrementally until it's back up above it.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's the market's trading.
I don't know, man. I hate to sound like a doomsdayer. I hate to sound like that in the crypto space.
No, this is good. We want to hear that. We want to hear
bro.
It's
just like always. It's like I don't want to. I wish nothing but the best. I have listened to the Horde team in various AMAs. I've been having consistent people from my audience, recommend them, but it's like. It keeps giving me like, just the vibes of all these different algorithmic things where it's great. I mean, everybody's making money. It's like, there's no way this could fail. There's 5 different reasons why it can't. until something just slips up, and it's a cascade effect. And I really
Could
hope
be.
that's not the case with Horde, but it's like, because think about all the reasons why people said Anchor Protocol would never fail. What was the first one? They've been around for a while. The second one was they
Too
have
big to fail.
X
Too
amount
big
of
to fail.
the second was they have X amount of millions of dollars to pay out the APY for X amount of years, and by that time things could turn around, blah blah blah. And then the third thing was, well, the team is great. Okay, well, that's the same things people are saying about Horde, right? Is it's been around for 100 days now. That's craziness in the bear market. They have all this money. I was looking at their liquidity pool. Their liquidity pool with Horde is like $600,000 deep with BUSD. I think that's what I'm looking
630.
at. Yeah, 630 with BUSD. So it's like they got some money, but it's just like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, maybe, but maybe we're wrong. I
I
mean,
don't know.
that's why
Yeah.
it's good to have these discussions, because this is much better
Yeah.
than all three of us agreeing on everything. I love this.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, let me give you access.
Okay, I want to show people how to check Horde's LMS system for how much money is in it. And don't mind all of my tabs here. Got my favorite YouTubers channels that I watch
Do
right
your
here.
TA. Do some TA on Horde. No, I'm joking.
Hey, how come you don't have two tabs open for EAM crypto, man? Screw you.
I actually do. I have the video that we're playing right now. So, okay, you go to Horde. You want to click. So for the people watching, if you want to see how to check Horde's LMS system for how much cash is in it, click, go to Deck Screener, look up Horde, and then where it says Horde right here, click this button. It pops open, BSC scan, scroll down, and look for anything that says 0x223. So the address that starts 223, I just remembered that just because I remember weird things. Click it. It'll filter the Horde token by holder. So then you click this address again. And this contract here it says transparent upgradable proxy, yada, yada, yada. You can trace it back and you'll get the byte code and stuff, but that's not what's important. This is the Horde LMS contract. And if you look where it says token here, click the dropdown and you'll see BUSD of a value of $1.778 million, almost $1.8 million still.
Oh my God.
It's actually gone up from when Gerard did his video like 2 months ago, and it was 1.6 million. Now it's
Well, you can
almost
see
1.8.
that, right? You can click on it and it'll show you the overtime analytics, right?
Not for BUSD, unfortunately.
Oh, it's just for BNB. Okay, yeah.
It's just for BNB, but yeah, if I forget, so there are some ways to see like token balance in a wallet over time. I don't have those tools available, but if somebody could, you could actually see how it moves up and down. But you can see its current state. It's got 1.8, almost 1.8 million dollars in it still, and it started in March 22nd. That's almost 5 months ago, like 4.5 months, and the LMS has gone up. The liquidity has gone up in value. So this is crazy to me. This is a crazy system, right? I don't know. It's working apparently. So I'm hoping LAR. Now, the thing that concerns me with LAR is because, obviously this is all experimental. They have a very wide range where Horde's range is about 10 to 12% of a spread. Like you can right click here and go to percent, and it goes from, I put some lines on here, these blue lines. The thresholds are $99 to $111, and it's like a 11 to 12% spread. LAR though it was 5 cents to 25 cents. That's like a 500% spread, right? Now
Yeah.
it's 7.5 to 25 cents. So still though, Horde's a 12% spread, and LAR is over 2 or 300% of a spread. So who knows what this is going to look like, if it's like going way up and down.
Well, it's the first ever one with a rebasing
know.
token, so that's going to be really, really interesting, because one thing that that LMS has never had to combat before is a super high inflation of the token, right? Because isn't Horde a static supply, if I'm not wrong? Like they can't mint additional horde tokens?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's like
Not sure.
I think
it's
they
a set
started out with
supply.
like 111,111 or something like that. Like I forget.
I literally dropped a question in the horde Discord. I said, "Hey guys, I'm live on a podcast
yeah.
right now.
Here it
Can you
is.
go out?"
Here it is. It's 1,111,111 horde, and on
Yeah.
their white paper it shows how they split those tokens up. Yeah, it's an interesting
Well, this is some
system.
good conversation, man. I think we should do a whole episode just breaking into the LMS or something. I don't know.
Dude, I love this. This is a really fun conversation, you guys.
You know
I
what's
like it that
cool?
we didn't have an
Everybody watching
agenda.
right
It just
Yeah.
it just went in there. It just kind of
Well,
flowed.
we have 12 people watching right now, and all 12 of you and people watching the replay. This is like general conversations of what we talk about anyways, and now we're
Yeah.
just going to do it in front of you all. Just talk
Yeah,
about money
pretty much.
and if you guys have any comments, if you want to jump into the conversation, you could always feel free, use the chats. Because this is a good conversation. I like doing this. What do you think? Is this an every Friday thing?
I think so, Alex.
I can work it into my schedule and make sure I'm available. Yeah.
It's somewhere in
Nice.
between your 8-hour videos. Maybe you can just leave us in your little break there.
Dude, I try to keep them short, but I don't know. I'm loquacious, I guess.
No, man, you're just you know your stuff. It's impressive. It really
Thanks,
is.
man. I love this stuff. I really do. It's like my passion. I love getting into the weeds on this. I love the potential. I could gamble on one of these projects and make a bunch of money. Like, so that's like super fun. And then I get like obsessed with it. And then I pick up all these like weird little details that I can then like spout off later on projects I've done this for. And I don't have people to talk to like this, by the way. My wife has no idea. She does not understand. She doesn't care. She's like, you're talking gibberish again. So when I talk with like Enrique and Austin and a couple of like my other YouTuber friends out here, I get to actually like speak freely about the thing I'm so passionate about. And you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that does help. And I think that's where we should maybe start the next episode is find out, since you brought up your wife, find out more about what happened with the MDB NFT fiasco. Are you still in the doghouse? I think that would be a really good conversation to
Stay
have.
tuned
Yeah.
next time, baby. You
Stay
guys got to
tuned
come
for
back
those-
and watch.
Yeah, for those of you that are married or have a girlfriend, I think you'll appreciate the story. I know I did, and I want to know more about
Ooh,
this.
yeah. Let's talk
I
about
will-
the relationships.
Yes,
It's
relationships
tricky,
in
dude.
crypto. That's
Yes.
that's a good one.
I want to leave a cliffhanger. I like, you know me, I want to talk. So I want to jump into it, but let's save that for next time. I'll jump into like how my wife took me spending $750 to $1,000 on
734,
this
734.
734 in MDB Plus, I think, for this NFT. And she's like, what the
Yes.
hell is an NFT? What have you done? You've ruined us. And I'm just like, look, Danny said it'll be worth $50,000 someday. And she's like, you idiot.
But Danny said,
That's
so
just funny, man. Because I could tell, like, right after you did it, you had all these questions, and it was like, oh my God, he's literally showing us on air buyer's remorse. This is like perfect buyer's remorse.
you guys saw you witnessed the full stages of DeFi. You saw like curiosity,
an investment.
you saw FOMO, you saw FOMO in real time. I'm like, come on. And then afterwards, you saw like remorse. What have I done? And
Panic, stress,
look, I
uncertainty.
have Danny on the phone right now. Here, talk to her.
Really?
No, I'm saying that would be funny if that's what you did.
Oh,
Oh, I thought you were serious.
Hey,
I was
he's on
like,
the
okay.
No.
listen, Kelly. He's got a British accent. He sounds very smart. He sounds like he
does.
knows what he's talking about.
He says
And
maths. He says maths, not math.
He says maths. Yes. Yeah. I was like, just listen to my AMA with him. And she's like, I don't listen to your videos. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, "Ugh."
All right, we'll have to start with this next episode. I think we all have some funny stories there.
Absolutely.
So many.
All right,
funny
guys,
stories.
this was a ton of fun. For those of you watching, thank you so much for checking us out. We'll try to be consistent about this, and hopefully we can keep the same hour. If not, we will try to announce it as quickly as possible. But right now, I think we're going to go with 4 p.m. Eastern on every Friday. good way to end the weekend, or a good way to start the weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks
right,
for doing
guys.
this, you guys.
Yeah, this is fun. Take care,
All
everyone.
right. Y'all have a great night.
All right.